Stokeness. Porter 5 force hasn't come out for some time in P5. So it's about time the examiner may want to test something to do about Porter 5 force. Are you clear now? So if he does test Porter 5 force, you should know how to manage it. Are you clear? Okay. Let's look at what you need to know about Porter 5 force. Alright. The question here asks you, using Porter 5 force model, assess the impact of external business environment on performance management. Now this is a very odd question because it's asking you specifically on how does Porter 5 force affect the performance management, that means what you're measuring and all that. Are you clear? The next thing, and give justified recommendation on one new performance measure for each of the 5 forces. So basically, if you were to break this question up into a header type approach, okay, if you were to break this question into a header type approach, you're going to get something like this as your thinking pattern. Okay, let's think about the thinking pattern first. For this question first, what does the question actually ask you? The question is asking you something like this. So it's asking you, it's going to ask you about so thinking pattern, just put the thinking pattern inside first. Well, the question did ask you Porter 5 force. What is it? Supplier. And what do they want? What does the examiner want you to do about this whole thing? He wants you to do 2 things. What are the 2 things? One is does that make sense to you? So your thinking pattern goes like this: supplier, buyer, rivals, new entrants, and you got your substitute. Are you clear now? It's impact on performance management, and also you're looking at how you can suggest a measure. Now it's a suggestion of measure. It is not an assessment of the company's, I repeat that, it's not an assessment of the company's situation. Are you clear now? Clear? Not clear? So you may want to look into this. Let's look at this part. Okay. Discuss how the problem of defining market in measuring a market share apply to Stokeness. So here the concept of market, what is market and defining market. Are you clear? Next question. Assess the risk appetite of venture capitalists and discuss how this might affect performance measurement in Stokeness. The word risk appetite. Do you know what's the meaning of risk appetite? Yes, no. Do you know the meaning of risk appetite? Yes, no. Yes, no. Well, you talk about 3 different types of appetite. You go risk averse, risk seeking, risk neutral. Yes or no? And venture capitalists tend to be what kind of risk? Risk seeking. Okay. And discuss how it might affect performance measurement. So what would they measure? What kind of things they would measure? Okay, if you're a risk seeker, what would you look at? That's too generic to say money, is it? Everybody looks at money, correct? What would you be looking at? Rate of growth. Growth might be a factor. Are we clear now? How fast you're growing, how fast, maybe you're looking at profits or cash flow. So you need to be a bit more specific. How fast you can get back your money, pay back. Clear? So you want to be specific on what you're looking at. Don't just say generically, because everybody likes money. But what money do they like? Which kind of money do they like? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, have a quick read of the question. Do a very fast read, and I want you to fill up as much as you can. Now, you may also want to identify them. Identify who they are. Like, what is the supplier here? Who's the buyer here? Again, just identify a few of them quickly. Okay, are there a lot of rivals? Is there a new entrance? And And is there a substitute? So I'm just giving you this as a matrix for answer. I want you to use this as answering first, then I'll write down the answer. Okay, just you write this out. You draw this, write your answer inside here. Can? Draw this, write your answer inside there. Fill it up as fast as possible. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. Are you okay? Right, let me move through this question now. I think you're done, right? You already read the question, right? By the way, you got this table, right? Did you fill up this table? Yes, no? You should have filled up something. Okay, now, let's look at this. Stokeness Engineering is developing hydrogen fuel cell for use of powering large motor vehicles such as bus and trucks. They will replace standard petrol diesel engine. Now, the petrol diesel engine would be your substitute. The fuel cells have clear advantage over this technology, so lower carbon dioxide emission. So emission is one of the performance. Okay. The governments of many developed countries are seen to cut such an emission, are supporting a variety of possible technological solutions in this issue, such as fuel cell, electrical battery, and compressed natural gas. This alternative technologies would be fitted by major international vehicle manufacturers into vehicles for sale to their customer. The vehicle manufacturers will need to form a close partnership with the engine producer in order to make technology workable. So this one is probably a barrier to entry. Okay. And this has already begun to happen with two major manufacturers signing deals with other manufacturers. So this might be a manufacturer's, you might look at this deals as a barrier to entry, isn't it? Clear? Okay. Stokeness mission is to provide world-leading, reduced emission, fuel-efficient power products for motor industry in order to optimize shareholder return. Stokeness has existed for only 5 years. It's owned by its management and venture capitalists. The management were all engineers who've been working for basic research associated with new fuel technologies and saw the opportunity to commercialize their expertise. Stokeness is highly regarded in the industry for its advanced fuel cell design. Well, you might talk about design as an important idea. Okay. As a result, VCs are eager to invest in Stokeness and have assisted in placing experienced managers into business to aid their original engineering team. It takes 5 to 10 years to develop a viable product for sale in this motor market. Thus, VCs have stressed the need to analyze competition and competitive advantage in order to understand how to make the business profitable in long term. The major problem is to overcome will be new technologies, that there must be an infrastructure accessible to the end for refueling. Okay, this is very important. Government has indicated a desire to support development of such technologies to address environmental issues, to try to establish new high-value industry in jurisdiction. It may do this through tax break. Okay, so there might be a tax break coming in there. Sorry, hold on. Okay, let me just remove that one. Okay, the next one that you have there is production of Stokeness fuel cell uses special membrane that requires rare, expensive element. That sounds like, this one sounds like your supplier. Okay, it is also partnered with 2 engineering companies for subcontracting production certain components. This is also your supplier. Okay. Stokeness has had to share much of its fuel cell design with this firm in order to overcome certain engineering difficulties. This sharing might actually indicate that the sharing of the design technology kind of indicates that the suppliers are strong or weak. Stronger, I clear now. Okay. There are a number of companies developing fuel cell, but Stokeness is believed to have the 2-year lead over them and only 3 years away from commercial launch. So this is a very important word, commercial launch. Okay. There's also an existing diesel and petrol engine, okay, number startup, as well as large existing diesel petrol engine manufacturers will constantly reduce emission from their existing engine. So this might be something you need to track. Okay, how much is the emission reduction for the alternative fuels? Okay, CEO wants to understand the external business environment as a fact of performance management. She used Porter 5 Force herself in past trading decision, but here she wants it to focus on the performance management. She wants your analysis of current competitive environment to result in advice of performance management and properly justified recommendation of one measure for each 5 force. Stokeness already uses market share to measure competitive position, but CEO is worried that the way this is calculated, in particular the definition of market. She's asked your comment on this performance management expert. So let's look at the easy ones here. Normally the easy ones are this 4 or 5 marks. The 16 is quite tricky. Okay. So let's talk about the first one. Why is it complicated to define market? And have you got the buyers? Who's the buyers? Who's the buyer here? Who's the supplier? Membrane. And buyers are? Who's the buyer? Hello, who's the buyer here? Bus manufacturer, bus lorry manufacturer, isn't it? Rivals? Well, new startups. Okay, new entrants? Well, there are some new people entering. So you look at barriers. What are the barriers? Time. Substitute. Did you get all of this correct? Yes, no. Does that make sense? Okay, what's the meaning of impact of performance areas? What to focus? What to focus on these people? Are you clear now? What you need to focus on these people? Everybody, you have to focus on something. Are you clear now? So in terms of, if you look at this one, let's say suppliers. What are you going to focus on suppliers? What are the big issue for suppliers? Well, here, does that make sense? Okay, I think you need to know the difference between this word and this word. A lot of students don't know what this means. They know what this means, they don't know what this means. How does this impact your performance management? Are you clear now? Whenever somebody says, can you tell me how does it impact performance management? It's like, simple word, where are you worried about? What are you worried about? Are you clear now? If you're doing this business, what are you worried about this issue? Like, okay, you got supplier, what are you worried about the supplier? You got buyer, what you're worried about the buyer? Are you clear now? What are the issues with the buyer and all that? Not really like how to make money and all that. It's not about performance here. Are you clear now? Performance management is like areas where you are worried. Are you clear now? Can you keep that in your head a bit? It's a simpler way of making life easy for you, because people get confused by your examiner's constant use of the word performance management. Simple word, what are you worried about? Where do you think there's problems in this business going to come from? Are you clear now? Clear? Make sense? Keep that in your head, you can get easy marks. Because a lot of people can't find angle for this one word, PM. Get it? It's not performance measurement. The next one is performance measurement. What to measure? Okay, are you clear on the difference or not? So let's make sure you're clear. Impact of performance management, what are you worried about? Impact on measures, how to measure it. Are you clear or not? Okay. Rivals, what are you worried about? Now notice the word I asked you might make it easier for you to figure out what you're worried about. What are you worried about? What are you worried about for the rivals? Huh? Well, time. Are we okay with this idea right now? Make sense? Now, when I say new entrant, what are you worried about? Well, you're worried about how strong is the barrier. Correct? In this sense, what is the barriers? Skills, you might look at things like can you understand this part? Comparative means that means you have to compare how much better are you from somebody. Like, are you 10%, 20%, 30% better? Like right now there's a car called EEV, yes or not? What are the EEVs? Example of EEV? Hello? What are EEV? Anybody knows? EEV? Electronic, I think it's energy efficient vehicle, yes or not? Energy efficient vehicle is those that have like, I think supposed to hit like 21 kilometer per liter or some kind of like a target per kilometer, okay, no? That means they can really run very far with a little bit petrol, are you clear? EEV, okay? Once you get EEV, you get some special discount and all that. That's basically government helping out the certain market. They want a certain market to come up. Are you clear now? Follow? Okay, now, are we clear on what you have here? Yes, no? Now, this is matrix for answering. This is not the answer. This is a matrix. So, when you are preparing an answer, I just need you. I'll just give you a table like this. I just want you to fill it up like this only. I don't need you to write out full sentences first. You know why not? If you can identify this, you already got the marks. If you don't identify this, you got no marks. Does that make sense? After that, just putting language inside. Are we clear or not clear? I don't think language is the problem. I think identifying this is the problem. If all of this is wrong, whatever you write is 0 marks. Does that make sense? No matter how good you can sentence it. Notice the word now. So the sentencing may not be the one that causes you the problem. It's whether you've identified the right issues. Clear? Not clear? Does that make sense? Okay, now let's quickly move into this part and let's talk about what to write inside here. So if you're going to write the 5 forces out, let's say the first one, part A, you're doing, let's say we're doing substitute. So the answer will go like this. Main substitute for Stokeness is diesel petrol engines. Can you understand what I just wrote there? Did you know what is all that about? That's a performance management column. Lah. What you're worried about, what are the issues you're thinking about for this area. Are you clear now? Can? Do you think you can remember this word? Performance management. What you are worried about. Okay? Or how can you make life better for the company? Let's make sure you understand that. What you can do to make life better for the company, areas you can improve, or areas you are worried about. Fair enough? Let's keep that 2 ideas in your head. Areas you can improve, areas you are worried about. Are we clear on the sentencing part of it? Yes, no. Can? But you need only one lah. So if I say competitors, clear? Got it? Then you can put the next one. What's the next one? You can put buyer power, remember? Now, notice the word I wrote here. I have written down what you're worried about, remember? There are agreements, that's good, you have some agreements. But, you got a problem, you are worried that they might take over you, yes or no? Correct? Clear, not clear? Can you understand how to handle the question? Yes, no? Next one. Supplier power, right? Can you understand this idea about managing your supplier? I think we're done with all of it, right? Have I done all 5? Yes, no? Done, right? Huh? New entrant nanti dua. I thought I did new entrants. No. Fire, rivalry. Oh yeah, new entrant nanti. Okay, if we look at new entrants. What are the main problem in new entrants? Done. Clear or not clear on this part? Can? Okay, now we're looking at defining markets, right? That's it. Broad definition, narrow definition, then the impact of the two. You do broad, you get competitor fatigue. You do narrow, you get myopia. Competitor fatigue means too many competitors. When you look at too many competitors, you have a problem. You need to define who is your direct competitor. Are you clear now? Who are you fighting against? Does that make sense? Clear? Not clear? Next one is venture capitalists, right? Okay, does that make sense? That's basically what the venture capitalists are interested in. They are looking at maximizing value, isn't it? At minimum risk. So how they manage the risk is they keep the cost down and they keep their cash flows in focus. Are you clear now? Got it? How they keep the valuation up? They tend to build on intangibles and growth. Pay attention, huh? They tend to build on intangible and growth. They don't try to build on capacity. No, they don't like to invest on factory and all that. That's something they hate. You know why, right? You invest in factory, it will go down in value. PPE always goes down in value, yes or no? Intangible, very hard to value, so they like intangibles. Clear? Follow, don't follow? Any questions there? Can?